Hello and welcome to Thursday Night Live. I'm your host, Dr. Rita Louise, and thank you all for tuning into the show today. And I want to send an extra thanks to all the people that get here so freaking super early. I really appreciate you and your devotion to this show. So thank you, even if I do give you all a bad time about it. Anyway, so last week, we talked about our relationship with food, and I talked about how there are people that are unconscious eaters or they're nervous anxiety kind of eaters, and talked about the dynamics about that. And so today I'm going to be talking about food again, but I'm going to be talking more about our relationship to food and more specifically about our food habits. So statistics suggest that at least 70% of people in the United States are overweight. And so my guess is that 70% of the people have a bad relationship with food. And over the years, there have been a lot of efforts and medications that have come out to help people lose weight. Now is, as President Trump suggested, the fat shot. That people give themselves to help them lose weight, but all of these medications come with some kind of side effects that perhaps if people change their relationship with food, they wouldn't need the shots in the first place. What many people also don't realize is that the real way to lose weight is to change that relationship, which means we have to change ourselves and our lifestyle. And it doesn't help that there are so many different kinds of diets out there. There's the no meat diet, the all meat diet, the combination of meat and vegetable diet, that it can be really confusing to pick out the one that is going to work for you. But regardless of the kind of diet that you look at, when you observe and pay attention to the things that they're talking about, none of the diets incorporate junk food, fast food, pre-processed food, chemical-laden foods that you normally find in the supermarket. They usually are talking about fresh foods that you cook and make by yourself. So I'm not going to go into the different kinds of diets, at least not today, but there's keto and vegan and vegetarian and Mediterranean diet and the carnivore diet and the Pritkins diet and the Atkins diet that all have different requirements. Some you eat a lot of carbs and vegetables, other ones you eat a lot of meat. But the biggest thing is to look at them and see which one resonates with you and then try it. I've been an on and off, I'm going to say vegetarian vegan. I don't eat dairy, so, it kind of puts me a little more into that vegan category. But what I find is that when I'm following that diet or incorporating that more into my lifestyle, that I can be kind of a carb junkie. Last week I was talking about my little potato chip addiction that I have going on these days because of my COVID mouth. But it is very easy for me to have rice and beans. And after not much time, I'm eating a lot of carbs and not a lot of protein to balance out those carbs. And so I have found for me, eating meat and eating a low carbohydrate diet with lots of vegetables mixed in with that tends to give me what I need. And it keeps me off that super carb train, because when you consume a lot of carbohydrates, it can make it so that your body gets filled with candida, which is a kind of fungus inside the body. And that's just a whole separate health issue by itself. Um, but again, look at them, look at what works for you, and then try them, and you might find that that diet doesn't work for you, like the carnivore diet. You just eat like meat and eggs and bacon, and I couldn't do that. That's like too much meat for my personal taste. Um, so again, I tend to be a little bit middle of the road, but you're not going to know if you don't try it. And it also doesn't mean that, okay, I'm going to go on this diet starting on Monday. And so Sunday afternoon, you go through all of your cabinets and you get rid of everything and you clean out, the fruits and the vegetables because you're going to do the carnivore diet, and you get rid of all of this stuff and you just buy like 2 weeks worth of food to support this new diet. What I have found is that people that go in with that mentality that I'm going to start this diet and I'm going to be really strict on it and I'm just going to watch everything I eat, last for a week, maybe 2 weeks, and then they cheat and they end up beating themselves up and they quit. I mean, basically, and they quit. A more appropriate way, to incorporate one of these kinds of diets is to incorporate it 1 or 2 days a week. So, if you're going to do a vegan diet as your preferred choice, maybe have 1 or 2 vegan meals a week. Maybe have more if your lifestyle can support it. And, and then in time, give yourself the opportunity to add a little more, add a little more, add a little more. But you're not forcing yourself to have to adhere to these strict rules that may or may not be accomplishable for you. And then if you mess up and have a bad day and you eat that bag of Oreos or the entire bag of chips, cut yourself some slack. And take a step back and go, okay, today was a bad day. I was nervous eating all day long, but tomorrow I'm going to start anew and go back on my routine. Because that's usually what happens, is that you have a bad day and then you just quit and you throw your arms up and go, I can't do it. But it's not the point of the diet. There are some people, I'll say it this way, who do go whole hog on a diet, and they only eat 1,000 calories a day, and they miraculously do lose a lot of weight. But then when they get down to their desired weight, they kind of take the diet and throw it over there because it was really restrictive, and they go back to their old ways of eating, and shockingly, the weight comes back on. So it is not about the diet. I think that's the biggest thing I want to say. It's not about the diet. It's about creating new habits and creating a lifestyle of eating that you can enjoy and changing that relationship you have with food. Then there's the whole mindful point. Pay attention to what you're eating. Enjoy it. Savor it. And again, if you eat a whole bag of chips or Oreos, start fresh tomorrow and don't quit. But the biggest thing again is it's not about the diet. It's about changing your relationship with food. So what are you going to do tomorrow or next week to change that dynamic? That's my question to you. And I'm going to keep on this because there's more information I wanted to share, but I didn't want to spend too much time on this. And next week, I'm going to talk about some practical strategies that you can use to help and support your weight goals. How's that? So this show is brought to you by soulhealer.com. That's soulhealer.com, where you can reach out to me and set up a time for a private consultation, whether that's a medical intuitive evaluation. intuitive counseling, or getting an energy medicine session done. You know, perhaps there's stuff going on in your life that you just need someone to talk to and give you an outside look or an intuitive opinion about. I'm your girl. Call me up, send me an email, and we will get something set up. It's also brought to you by the Institute of Applied Energetics. That's appliedenergeticsinstitute.com, where you can learn to become a medical intuitive counselor, or energy medicine practitioner. And while you're there, you can download my Jumpstart Your Intuition guide to help you get started on the path. You know, and if you were looking at developing your psychic abilities and wanted to have some exercises and tools to play with, this Jumpstart guide is really loaded with some great information and some things for you to play with. So check it out, appliedenergeticsinstitute.com. And if you are listening to the show in a rerun form, you know, or you are on one of the channels that it does not allow you to join the chat, and you want to, the easiest way to join the chat is by going to my YouTube channel, which is Just Energy Radio on YouTube. That's Just Energy Radio on YouTube. Click the live button and join the fun and get a free on-air psychic reading from me, Dr. Rita Louise. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and change over to the comments and say hi to people. There's a ton of comments, but let's get the party started. And as I said, there were people here like super early. So I'm just going to say hi till somebody asks for a reading. So, hey, Marco, and he says, Odo, Rita, your hair is amazing. Thanks, Marco. You must have been having a psychic moment. ERRT Radio says, better get my request in early. Yeah, you better. Unar says, hello and good evening. ERRT Radio says, happy Thursday, Dr. Rita. May I have a reading number 3, please? Thank you. You sure can. Okay. Okay, and that's your card for today. Okay, so ERRT Radio, I'm not sure if this is on a conscious level or it's just what's going on inside of you behind the scenes. But I feel like there is this piece of you that is seeing this energy that you're not really liking. And I feel like you're moving it over to the side. You're not necessarily letting it go, but you are moving it over there. I feel like you have not finished the evaluation process. Maybe there's some deeper learning that you still need to get from this thing, this situation. You know, maybe, and so you're not totally done with it, but I feel like you're moving it out of your space so that you can be more whole and more grounded. So good job. And let me know if that really is happening on a conscious level or if this is just being processed in the background. And then ERRT Radio says, and your hair is amazing. Thank you. And then Unar says, can you pick one for me tonight? And yes, your hair is so pretty. See, I've got you guys so trained. Okay, Unar, I'm going to do a 2 for you. Ooh. All right, that's your card for today. Okay, so this is kind of interesting. So I am sensing a loss around you. I don't feel like the loss is necessarily your loss, but the loss of somebody close to you, someone that you associate with fairly regularly. I feel like your heart is going out to them, and the biggest piece is this empathy that you're feeling in relationship to this person and this situation that's going on in their life. I will add, I feel like you are keeping your energy retained. I don't feel like you're going and trying to solve and fix their problems. I feel like having empathy to someone because of something going on in their lives is good and appropriate. And I feel like you are having appropriate boundaries tied to that. So good job in holding that space. And I do feel like you are holding space for your friend. And when I say holding space is like you're maintaining your energy and it is giving them the opportunity to raise their vibration to match yours more, but sometimes just being the fixed pillar in the chaos is a good thing. So it's a good thing. All right. Okay, Master Player, evening. Number 1, please. You sure can, Master Player. Okay, and that's your card for today. So, Master Player, I feel like you are in the process of letting go of some old toxic stuff. I feel like you have not quite figured out what you're going to do or whatever to replace the energy that is moving out. I do feel, though, that you are feeling lighter and more energized and more optimistic within yourself now that this is leaving your space. So enjoy that process. Enjoy that feeling of your energy and your vibration shifting. Cool. So Marco says, Rita, hurry. I can't wait to glaze upon your beauty. Thank you, Marco. Okay, Ricky, happy Thursday evening, Dr. Rita. You look fabulous today. Love your hair. But number 2, thank you so much. You sure can, Ricky. And if there's anybody hiding in the background and you're just watching and you're on Facebook or you're on YouTube, do say hi. You don't have to ask for a reading, but it would be nice to know that you're there. Okay? Okay, so Ricky, that's your card for today. So, Ricky, what you're showing me is this sensation, and I'm going to try to express it from what you might be experiencing of feeling overwhelmed. I feel like you're almost trying to row upriver in a fairly fast moving stream. I feel like you're putting all of this energy in, but it's like you're really not getting to the goal. And it almost seems like it keeps getting further and further and further away, and so one of the things that I say on this show very often, you know, maybe you need to surrender to the energy. Maybe instead of keep trying to, you know, grow upstream, maybe you should take your oar out of the water and allow the water to take you wherever you need to go, because that will be the perfect place. And, you know, guys, if these readings are resonating with you and making sense, you know, I would appreciate getting feedback about what you think, or, you know, what's going on in your life that it made this maybe come there, go there. Blech. You know, I really can't speak. Hi, Yvonne. She says, hi, Dr. Rita. Can I get a reading number 2, please? You sure can. Okay, and that's your card for today. So, Yvonne, this is interesting. I feel like you received some kind of new insight. The feeling I get is that you read something, you talked to someone, you heard on the radio. I don't know. I feel like it came from an external source, but it was this little snippet of information that made you stop and go, I never thought of it that way. And so I feel like you haven't quite processed this information and haven't acted on it yet. But I feel like it's caused you to kind of look at your situation, look at where you're going from a slightly different perspective. And you are potentially going to make an adjustment based on this information. And so I think that's really cool. It's definitely you going more with the flow instead of trying to push things forward. It's taking in these little adjustments that the universe tends to give to us to keep us on track. So cool. Well, now I'm curious what that's all about. Oh, and she says, your hair is to die for. Gorgeous. Thank you, Yvonne. Okay. Amy. Hey, Amy. She says, hi, Dr. Rita. Happy Thursday. Can I have a reading number 2, please? Thank you. You sure can, Amy. All right, and that's your card for today. So, Amy, okay, Lozinger, hang on. So I get the impression that you've made a decision, and they just keep saying, you know, come hell or high water, that's where I'm going. And if there is doubt, I'm not getting any doubt. I mean, this seems very clear. You seem very clear, but I'm just going to say this out loud. You know, I do feel like this directive is spirit, you know, telling you this is where you need to go, and this is the direction and positioning that you need to take. And yeah, you need to kind of buckle down and work through it. I feel like you are game and ready for the challenge. So good job there. But I think the biggest thing is I feel like it's the right direction for you right now. So see, now I want to hear what that's all about. See, you guys have to give me feedback. Okay, let's see. Marco says, I should be the voice of the show. Sure, Marco. You know, Marco, I will bring you on if you want, but that means you have to put your face on the video and I can pop you in. I can invite you. Just saying, you shouldn't ask for more than you can handle. Hey, Veronica, nice seeing you. Yvonne said, who made your wonderful introduction? So, Yvonne, are you talking about the video? And if you're talking about the video, that would have been me, because it's me or me or me. And if you want that mailed to you, that would be me too. Hey, Christine, how are you? And she says, hello, may I have a reading number 2, please? Boy, people are on number 2 today. You sure can, Christine. Okay, and that's your card for today. So, Christine, the best way I can express what I'm feeling about you today is that there's some confusion in your space. I feel like there's something that you want to do, need to do, have to do, or trying to figure out. But that's really the operative word, that you're trying to figure it out. You know, I feel like you have the tools and you listen well enough to follow the guidance that's being offered to you, that you will get the answers that you're looking for. You know, but it does require some effort on your part. You know, many people think that the universe is just going to like plunk, you know, if I do a vision board, the universe is just going to plunk stuff in our lap. But it really does require that we co-participate and we engage in the process. And so, Christine, please engage in that process. But I feel like actually the answer you're going to get is going to be better than what you even think. So cool. Cool. Okay, let's see. Dawn, there you are. Hi, Dr. Rita, you're looking great. Could I get a reading? Number 2, Dawn, aka Worry Wart. Oh, Dawn, you kill me. And you sure can. And glad that you made it to the show on time. Ugh. All right, this is the second time this card's come up. So let's see what this is saying about you today, Dawn. Okay, so Dawn, and I'm going to say this, but I really need for you to think about it and validate it or not, whether this is actually a true statement for me. So I get the impression that a situation has happened, and I'm going to say in the last couple of days, and you got to take a step back and you got to choose. I could choose to go over here and worry about it and be upset and be angry and frustrated and go down my rabbit hole, or I can choose to go over here and not let it get to me. You know, and so to me, the choice is less important as you being able to look and see the choice and the opportunities that are being presented to you. I do feel like you chose to not go down the negative road, but instead chose to surrender and let it go and have it be a non-issue. And so please, please, please tell me that this is true, because that is wonderful and amazing. Tell me. Okay. Marco says, diet, exercise, and lots of sex is a good way to lose weight. Okay. All right, Mr. B and Friends. Hey, Mr. B and Friends, it's been a while. Nice seeing you. Ohura. Hello, Dr. Rita. Thank you for the essential talk on health matters. I couldn't lose the 120 pounds that I gained, and I suffered from fatty liver. Finally, Semigolon, I don't know what that is, helped me very much. Please, reading number 3. You sure can, Ohura. You know, I have to tell you, I shuffle the cards, and half the time, look what's always on the bottom. And it's not this one. It's like different ones. And I'm glad they stay on the bottom. You know how much I don't like those cards. Okay, Ohura, that's your card for today. So, Ohura, I feel like, you know, and I'm going to say today, recently or tomorrow, but like in this very near period of time that you, and the way I'm going to say it is you put the period at the end of the sentence. I feel like there has been something going on and it's not being particularly clear. Like there's something that you've been working on and it's going to be finally finalized. You know, there's been something that you've been trying to end and it's going to be finally finalized. But the biggest thing is, and why I'm thinking there might be a negative twist to this, is that there is this associated feeling that I don't feel bad about it, you know, and I don't have any guilt about it. And yes, it's ending, but I'm going to like breathe some free air in and around it. So, you know, I just feel like there's a freeing aspect to it for you. So, yay, it's ending, period, end of sentence. Joe, hey, Joe, nice to see you. And she says, hi, Dr. Rita, may I have a number 3 reading? And you sure can, Joe. All right, Joe, let's see. That's your card for today. So, Joe, this is interesting. So, when I look at your energy today, it feels, and the word I'm going to use is neutral. It feels neutral. I feel like there are things going on around you that kind of want to take you down, and you could go down with it if you chose to. But I feel like in the same level, you've made this conscious choice to not allow yourself to go there. You know, I feel like you have been endeavoring to keep your vibration high, to keep your energy in a good place, to not dwell on negativity and lower vibrating emotions. You know, and this is to everyone. I mean, that is something that challenges even the most high vibrating person, is that there is this possibility that will go there. You know, and if you do, it's fine, because you can come back out. You know, but that it is just part of life. It is just part of the seasons that we go through. But Joe, good job. Good job. Okay, you know, and if the readings that I'm doing for you are resonating with you, I would love it if you would leave me a little something in the tip jar. And you can do that by going to soulhealer.com/live. That's soulhealer.com/live. And there is a link where you can go to PayPal and leave something in the little donation thing, or a shopping cart that you can do an amount via the shopping cart. But if it's working for you and resonating with you, I would appreciate the little something back. Okay. All right, we did that. Ann Lee. Hi, Ann Lee. Are you a new name here? If you are, hi, and welcome to Thursday Night Live. I'm Dr. Rita Louise, and you sure can have it reading number 3. So, Anne, you got what's called a mask card, and a mask card shows up when there's an energy you don't want to look at, there's a blockage, there's denial that's keeping you stuck. And I usually pull cards. So you got this card, which I didn't feel it was clearing, and then you got this card, another mask card. So this means it's pretty stuck. Okay. I'm going to go with this card for the clearing card, but you had all of this kind of in the way of your energy. Okay, so this is what I'm going to read. So, Anne, I feel like there are things going on in your life that are not going in the way that you would like them. I feel like, from my perspective, that you have a choice to make, or in order to not be in this yucky place, you need to make a choice. But I feel like the choice to you in this moment doesn't seem like fun, doesn't feel good to you. But the choice is you can stay in this untenable, uncomfortable situation, or you can tune in and ask spirit what that next step will be, because being over there in the first situation is really not working. And so maybe you're kind of jumping the gun. Maybe you're going, okay, but if I do this, and then all this fear comes in, and you're crazy making, but what about this? What about this? What about this? Maybe you need to slow it down. Maybe you need to take that process down a notch and go, okay, so I don't want to do this. So what do I need to do to move in a different direction? What's the first step? What's my next step? And instead of trying to get from point A to point Z, maybe just try to get to B. And it'll make it more tolerable and less scary. It'll make it less scary. Okay? Because I feel like inside you need to go. You know what I mean? You need to get to Z, but it's getting that process started that I feel has been a little bit challenging. A to B. A to B. Okay. Dawn says, I've never had to diet or really watch my weight, but since I've been on some of the drugs I've been on for my medical stuff I'm going through, I've gained at least 20 pounds and I lost it. Well, that's great, Dawn. And weight for some people really has to do with their metabolism. Some people have a metabolism that they can eat anything and never gain a pound. I personally do not have that kind of metabolism, so I watch everything. But that's great. All right, so Unar says, amazing card tonight. I can definitely relate. Thank you. Very accurate. You're so welcome, Unar. And then Master Player says, maybe you're talking about that I'm changing OSs on my computer. Windows is not going to cut it longer and decided to go and re-enter the Linux world. Maybe. I mean, that could be. And, sometimes it is a little bit challenging to make those kinds of changes in what's going on with your stuff. There's that whole learning curve. Gina. So this is Gina Bengstrom from the Fox Den, or Mama G, Fox Den Radio. Great show. Gina, if you put your link or the name of your show down there, because I can't remember it off the top of my head, I'll put it out to the group. So anyway, she says, hey there. Anyway, can you give me a quick card on the outcome of my big event this weekend, Penhurst Paracon? I sure can, Gina. And I'm just going to give you a 1 since it's quick. All right. That's the card that came up for you. Okay, so Gina, I do not know if this is part of your Paracon, if you are going to different locations to do investigations with your group. If that is the case, I feel like one of the locations is going to be very active. Um, I feel like it's going to be the talk of the thing, the talk of the Paracon. So that's pretty cool. I don't know. I mean, I feel like I feel like it's going to be good. It's going to be good. Um, Indulgent. I feel like there's going to be some indulgencies there, which is not necessarily a bad thing. So cool. Gina said, love you. Love you too, Gina. Ahura says, I love your lipstick. Cheers. Thank you, Ahura. Drusilla, hey girl. Evening, enjoyed the diet talk. Lost 20 pounds the last 90 days. Stress was first to go. That made a difference. Wow. See, and last week I was talking about being a nervous eater when things are going on and that you can't control or you're upset, that some people really reach to food to kind of calm their nerves and settle their insides. And so if you discovered that calming the stress down made it so that you could easily lose weight, good job. Excellent job. Oh, you didn't pick a number. Okay, so Drusilla's already shuffled once for you. So I'm going to shuffle one more time and I'm just going to pull a card for you. Okay. And that's your card for today. So Drusilla, I feel like you have, like, there's a, I want to say that there's a shift, but I feel like you have more and more been listening to spirit, more and more been paying attention, more and more been mindful. I feel like the universe has been kicking you in the butt over and over and over again to kind of push you over the line so that it becomes who you are. And, you just kind of fight it a little bit. But I feel like you have finally kind of gotten the message like, oh, that's what I'm supposed to do. And I feel like that's where you're at now. Like, you got the message, not 100% sure how to implement it all the time, but I feel like you're over the hump, and over the hump is good. All right. All right, Ricky says, thank you very much, Dr. Rita, for another wonderful reading. Have a wonderful evening and a fantastic weekend. You too, Ricky. Yvonne says, absolutely right on. Thank you, Yvonne. Christine says, thank you, on point as always. You're welcome, Christine. Don says, yes, you were right. And if it hadn't been for my inner self, I would have not been here. Love you. Love you too, Don. And yay! I mean, I'm happy for me for, getting that hit, but I'm happy for you, Don, because before you would have just reacted and gone down the negative path. And I keep rubbing this in for you that you are paying attention and being more mindful. And that was a very mindful choice on your part. So good job. Good job, Don. Amy said, had a former boss present an opportunity for me to work short contract from home. Should hear more about it next week. Fits right in like Goldilocks. Just right. Excellent, girl. Oh, Drusilla already did you, but I gave you a 2, so hopefully it was a good reading. Joe says, yes, you're correct. Thank you, Dr. Rita. Debbie. Hi, Debbie. Okay, you're getting a reading. Ha, ha, ha. Okay, so today's been a 2 day, so you're going to get a 2, whether you want it or not. Okay, and that's your card for today. Interesting. Okay, so Deb, I'm just gonna like be real here. So when I look at your energy, your third chakra just seems really blocked. I feel like you know that you should be going there, but it's almost like you can't go, like you're almost paralyzed in your own energy. Um, I get the impression that there's a bunch of fear tied to it. Shocker. Um, because if I'm right here, I know what's going on. And if I go over there, I don't. And I don't trust it. I don't know what will blow up around me if I do that. Um, I'm just going to make the commentary that having that third chakra just be so locked up, um, it just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel healthy. They keep showing me these images of like exploding third chakra diarrhea at some point in time. Um, so there. So there. And Lee said, thank you for the reading, Dr. Rita. You're so welcome. Master Player says, I do have experience with Debian and Untube and Arc Manjaro. Not much for Fedora Red Hat. Okay, I'll go with that. ERRT Radio says, Gina B, welcome, and I hope your event is a success. All right. ERRT Radio says, I lost 20 pounds when I had to eat the hospital food. Okay. Drusilla says, yes, words I needed to hear. Have a wonderful weekend. You too, Drusilla. Julie Pina. Hi, Julie Pina. I think I recognize your name. If not, welcome to the show, and you sure can have a reading. And since you didn't pick a number today, which is the amount of times I shuffle, I'm going to pick one for you. And, well, I was going to say one, but I already did one. So this is one on your behalf. Okay. And that's your card for today. So, Julie, when I look at your energy, well, one, you're not really in your body, so you're not really grounded. I feel like everything seems confusing. I feel like when you look at this over here, it kind of doesn't, like nothing is making sense. That's the best way to put it. Nothing is really making sense. I feel like it is causing you to not progress, I guess would be a way of saying it. So, I'm not going to dig into this too deep, but Julie, when I look at your energy and I go, okay, so what would it be like if you as spirit was in your body? And I feel like there's a lot of discomfort there. I feel like there's a lot of emotional unease in there right now. When I go back further in time, I get the impression that you were a pretty grounded person, but there's just stuff going on right now that is creating distress for you. And that distress is what is interfering with your ability to see clearly down the road. Okay. So maybe breathe, calm down, get yourself grounded back in your body. That would be a really great place to start. And then Amy says, I heard something the other day that makes sense. Treat food as your medicine, or you'll be treating medicine as your food. Well, isn't that true? Yeah, medicine. Oh, I can't even imagine. And Julie says, hello and thanks. Well, you are so welcome. Okay, so I hit the bottom of the list. Anybody have any questions or comments they would like to make before I sign off? Again, if the reading resonated with you, I would love it if you would go to my webpage, soulhealer.com. That's soul/live, soulhealer.com/live, and leave a little something in my tip jar. I would really appreciate it. All right. Anyway, so Master Player said, great show tonight and great hair. Thank you, Master Player. Anyway, guys, I am going to head out of here. Again, this show is brought to you. Let me get rid of that. No, go away. Oh, Marco says, love you, Rita. Love you too, Marco. This show is brought to you. Stop it. There we go. By soulhealer.com. That's soulhealer.com, where you can reach out to me to set up a time to schedule a private consultation, because I would love to talk to you and not just like see your name on a text thing. Anyway, guys, till next week, I'm Dr. Rita Louise. This is Thursday Night Live. Till then, be blessed.